Montclair Art Museum has mounted the first major American exhibit of art created in the 1990s, between the fall of the Berlin Wall and 9/11. Come As You Are, Art of the 1990s features the art that defined an era, its politics, and its technological and cultural breakthroughs.
A lot of mainstream institutions, big museums, started tackling these very charged political issues, very controversial artists, and bringing in many more artists of color, many more women artists, LGBT artists than were traditionally seen in museum walls. So it was kind of an opening up of this dialogue and really taking it on in a very forceful way that I think we really hadn't seen until that time.
Montclair Art Museum's Contemporary Art Program was established in 2010. Alexandra Schwartz is the museum's first curator of contemporary art.
This museum has always been interested in contemporary art, and even when we established ourselves over 100 years ago, the collections of American art that we were bringing in were of contemporary artists. Now there are historical collections. We've always been interested in what artists are doing right now, but we've never, until now, had a curator whose sole job it was and sole focus it was to define what that meant. And so I think what's happened is we've defined until now contemporary art in a very broad brushstroke, but now we look at what is happening right now around us.
Artists are always kind of the canaries in the coal mine. With the internet came the shrinking of the world. The world became so much smaller, it became so much easier to communicate. Travel really picked up internationally. And I think those artists are all processing that and thinking about how that affects how we live day to day, as well as the bigger picture.
Featured in the exhibit is a piece of internet art by married Montclair-based artists Mendy and Keith Obadike, titled Blackness for Sale.
We auctioned my blackness on eBay. And so sometimes when people see the documentation, they think, oh, the project is the documentation, but this was something that sort of happened in real time for a sort of limited moment. And yeah, I mean, we sort of just announced it to our little community of artists, but we were surprised that it sort of had this life outside of the group of artists we were talking to, and it got reprinted in magazines in Ireland and in Russia and in Norway and South Africa. I mean, that was a sort of odd time when people might take something that was happening on the internet and print it on paper, right?
So that it would get wider distribution.
that doesn't really happen today, usually.
They used eBay, which at the time in 2001 was very new, and they were, as far as I know, the first artists to take on a web institution and tweak it and kind of figure out how that could be used in a creative way. It was one of the first art pieces to go viral. And then it was shut down by eBay. They told them it was inappropriate and they took it down. This period of time was a very important transitional one for art and for the general culture. This decade was the last moment before the art world, and you could say the broader world, became totally globalized.
We don't even think in contemporary art anymore in terms of nationality that much. It's really flattened out. When you think about where we are now and how small the world is and how totally connected we all feel to each other now, that was just emerging in the 1990s.